Alright, we're back for another round with the red-white tokens. We're playing against a different person than the past 2 rounds, which is good. And I'm going to keep this hand. We're on the draw, our opponent mulligan. This hand is really sweet. Hushwing Gryff to stop any weird shenanigans, and then we just have a nice curve of tokens into more tokens into some burn. So, it's a great hand. We even have a mountain for Chain to the Rocks if we draw it. Very, very strong. I would love to draw like 1 land and then Eidolon of Countless Battles. Oh wait, we might be playing against blue-black control, in which case I would not like to draw Eidolon of Countless Battles. And actually, this hand gets a little worse. Definitely don't need a 5th land yet. Especially if we're playing against control. Thoughtseize. Okay, well that's... They might take the Rabble Master anyways. In which case we just got a couple of free life from them compared to a Despise. But if they don't take the Rabble Master, then... Okay. They took Raise the Alarm. Which tells me they have a removal spell for the Rabble Master. Okay, we drew Dictate of Heliod, which is not the best in these matches, but it actually isn't the worst, given that it makes a lot of our creatures immune to Bile Blight. And Drown in Sorrow. Makes all of them immune to Drown in Sorrow. I'm just going to pass the turn. Flash in Hushwing Gryff at the end of my opponent's turn. Oops. Thoughtseize is probably taking Rabble Master here. And then maybe I can deal enough damage with Gryff plus Dictate or plus something else I draw to allow me to burn my opponent out. We'll see. My opponent only has 3 cards left though. So that's good. Maybe we'll draw things that they can't interact with. Alright, they take Rabble Master. And we draw another one. Which pretty sure we'll just play. Which forces our opponent to react. Okay. Dissipate. That's an interesting main deck card. It's an interesting card in general. I like it. I think it's pretty well positioned in this meta, but I'm not sure if it just isn't strictly worse than Dissolve. Might be fine running as like... They might be running it as like the 5th counterspell. Like the 5th copy of Dissolve. Which would make a lot of sense. Because it does have a lot of utility. The Exile clause does. Okay, so we drew Temple. Opponent knows what we have. That's good. Just keep asking them questions and eventually there'll be one they won't have the answer to. I'm going to respond by stoking them in the hopes that they can't counter it. Yeah. Because burn spells are really big to get under their counters in game 1. Because they don't usually have... They usually have an excess of ways to deal with our creatures. But the only ways they have to deal with our burn spells are counters. And that's often... Like if we can make them If we can get under their counterspells enough, we have the ability to just burn them out or come really close. Alright, so opponent only has 2 cards, but any Jace's Ingenuity and Dig Through Time might seal the game up for them. So we have to be pretty careful. Okay. We just have to, we have to get kind of lucky, but looks like they're getting ready to cast Dig Through Time. Well, they're casting something. Jace's Ingenuity. I will take the opportunity to flash Dictate of Heliod in play. So they draw 3 cards. They can still draw like a lot of lands or more copies of Jace's Ingenuity, which aren't great because they cost 5. Like Radiant Fountain helps them. Wow, another Dictate. Dig Through Time is not great for us. It's really good for them because they get to basically fortify their position a little bit. They already had an edge, but they also have to find enough life gain to get out of burn range, which could be very difficult for them. Backwater helps, but Thoughtseize undoes it and doesn't get them anywhere. I'll play 5/5 for 3. Thanks very much. Okay, so Dissipate is not Dissolve number 5. Could be Dissolve numbers 5 and 6. Another Dig Through Time. Yeah, it's not very helpful for us. They could be running like 6 or even 7 3-mana counterspells in the main, but I doubt it. I think it's more likely they're running some split of Dissolve and Dissipate, or that they're just running Dissipates. Just running Dissipates is probably going to hurt them. Is this an Ashiok? Interesting. Pick up a Hushwing Gryff, exile 2 lands. If we draw 2 burn spells in a row, okay, 2 copies of Stoke the Flames in a row, we can get it done. Opponent decides to put a Hushwing Gryff into play. We have a Lightning Strike, which I will actually hold on to. It's likely targeting our opponent and not redirecting. Just because it puts them in like Strike Stoke range or Strike range instead of Stoke. So it gives us more outs if we're on the runner burn plan. Okay. Opponent picks up our last Rabblemaster, which could be very problematic for us. I'm going to keep this strike in my hand. I don't think we win by interacting with the Rabblemaster. I don't think it buys us enough time. +1 Hordling Outburst kind of undoes the Rabblemaster, so I'm going upstairs with this. Take 3. Or counter it. Okay. Drawing 3. Okay. Rather not redirect. There's no real point to playing the third Dictate because a 5/5 will kill. Like, that's the smallest my creatures are going to be. Is 5/5, and a 5/5 will kill our opponent no matter what. So we don't really need them to be any bigger than that. But we're probably lost anyways. Yeah. Alright, well, we do not have this deck configured to beat blue-black game 1, so I'm fine with losing that. Post board, we get a lot of stuff. Just get these 7 right here. We take out the chains because those are absolutely useless. And then I'm kind of inclined to take out Burn, but taking out Hushu Griff is probably better. I'm not entirely sure though. We're either taking out Griffs or Strikes. I like leaving Dictate of Heliod in. Again, as a way to like play around Drown in Sorrow, and as a way to commit more to the board without running into like Bile Blight or whatever. Maybe taking Dictate out is correct though. I want to take out the 3s. I think having some amount of burn is actually really good in these sort of matchups, even post board. So I will keep as is and submit. This is quite keepable. It's not the best, but we can definitely make do. I likely should have cited out the fourth Eidolon for the 4th strike, but it is close, so an argument could be made either way. Like, Eidolon is very good because it does bestow. So we can often, or we can threaten to force our opponent to double up on removal spells. Like, use one on a token and then another on the actual Eidolon. But it's not great if we're just casting it or if we're trying to bestow it onto a creature that's already good, because it doesn't add a whole lot to our clock. It provides a relatively small difference. Oh wow, Rabblemaster is a good draw. Forces our opponent to have Drown in Sorrow next turn, and an untapped Black Source. And if they don't, they're in bad shape. If they do, okay, they do. So now if we draw an untapped land, we're in really good shape because we can just cast the Ashcloud Phoenix, and they cannot counter it. So, no. Alright, well, now we're in a bit of trouble. No real need to fire off the lightning strike, yeah. If we have a secret in play, lightning strike can be a 4 damage spell or a way to play around Bile Blight or something. Okay. That was actually not bad for us. Spending a downfall on a seeker is something we're completely fine with. But it might mean that they just have a ton of counterspells, and this Ashcloud Phoenix is not going to resolve. If I had anything else to play, I would. To try to bait a counterspell, but I don't, so we'll let them, counter it. And again, we end up drawing like these 2 dictates that are both dead, and it's not pretty. This is a Vaulter and Ashiok. This is a Jorubai Murklurker. Okay, well, fair. So if I draw another land, we get to drop Dictate and attack for 9. Opponent's flooding out a bit. Hopefully that flood does not come with some card advantage. Because if it does, we have a problem. Opponent declines to attack. Okay, so I can raise the alarm and bolt. Or and strike, whatever. Which is good. So, untapped land or Stoke the Flames. Eidolon is actually legitimate. And we're casting on one of the soldier tokens because we would rather have those Bile Blighted than the goblin tokens. Responding with a downfall. Okay. So Drown in Sorrow is still a problem. But next turn it will not be if we draw an untapped land. Cool. Or another Eidolon. Gonna bestow it on Soldier again. It's the problem with bestowing Eidolon onto an Eidolon. Is that they're going to use the removal spell on their Eidolon anyways, so gross. So they get to block the 6/6. Dictate of Heliod still live to win me the game. They can't really, geez, that's a problem. They can attack with Pearl Lake Ancient and give it lifelink with the Murklurker. Or leave it back, and yeah. The fact that they can give it lifelink with the Murklurker is a problem. But I can force them to block and bounce it, which is good. If I just attack with this. If I attack with anything else, they can block that, give the Ancient lifelink, and stay alive without having to bounce it. But now I can force them to bounce it, and we're actually in pretty good shape. Like, sure, they can return the Backwater and gain a life. They can return Temple and Scry again, but 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Actually, they can just recast it. But the next time they bounce it, they can't recast it, I don't think. Right. Unless they draw land, but if they draw land, we're in good shape, so. This is a very interesting situation. Okay, so they're recasting it, which is fine. I would love an untapped land to slam a Dictate here. Giving them both lifelink. Have to do. Well, throwing Ashcloud in front of the Murklurker makes a lot of sense, because then they can't gain any more life. And I'm fine with going to 3. I can always chump block with soldier tokens if I have to. It also doesn't reduce the number of creatures in play. Yes, Urborg is a thing. So we get to just attack with everything but 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So we have to attack with... to leave one back in case they have a... in case the opponent has like a disdainful stroke. But, okay, they do not, and we win. Alright, so we are going to the next game. This shows you what happens when the blue-black deck just doesn't draw card advantage. Is they just, everything dies. They can't keep up. Definitely want a strike instead of one of the Eidolons. Even though they were good that game, I'm not convinced they'll be great in other situations. We'll submit this. Whoops. There we go. Sorry about that. Opponent mulligan, we will keep. This hand is fantastic. Rabble, rabble. Alright. That, not bad, but we want lands. We want to be able to hit the Ash Cloud Phoenix and then possibly the Dictate of Heliod. Okay. Temple's a good one. Seeker is fine, but I don't think it's high impact enough. Yeah, I don't think we want it. I think we want threats that are a little more durable. And most of the draws in our deck are better than Seeker at this point. We're casting the Eidolon to bait our removal spell, so that there's a higher chance that our Rattleclaw Mystic will survive. Or, sorry, our Ash Cloud Phoenix. And our Rabble Master. I don't know why I said. Yeah. Anyways. We're just waiting for... the opponent missed their land drop. Oh. They cast Ulcerate on the Eidolon, which is totally fine. They did miss their land drop. They play a Merc Lurker, which is completely fine. It's actually good for us. Okay, now they hit their land drop. Attack, no blocks. If they want to spend some of their precious little mana to give it lifelink, that's alright with me. Which they do. Dooba-doop. Stoke the Flames is good. I'm just going to jam a Phoenix. We're going to attack first, so that Bile Blight is even worse. And then I'm going to jam another Phoenix and pass the turn. Opponent's not in a good situation here. Because we have a lot of burn in reserve, And we have Rabble Master, and yeah. Okay. Lifelink time? Is lifelink time. Okay. I think we're going to attack. This is going to be a burn them turn. Okay. So Dictate does not save them. I can Lightning Strike 1 and still get 4 damage in. And hold up Stoke the Flames. That seems like the play. Bioblight fizzles. Phoenix comes back. I deal 4. Have Stoke the Flames up. Really looks like we're going to get there, actually. I'm quite surprised, but our opponent breaking on lands was very helpful for us. Alright, we're just going to stoke them. Yeah. Just flip it face up. And see if that ends the game right there. Or if our opponent has a removal spell. Ashcloud Phoenix is really good in this matchup. Being able to grind through a lot of their removal spells and deal them extra points of damage is really good. Our opponent's actually down in terms of cards because of Phoenix. Even though we've drawn more lands, we've whatever. We have an extra land in play and an extra creature in play compared to their one extra card in hand. Also, the quality of our cards in play is just better. Phoenix is so much better than Merc Lurker. Even though Lurker isn't bad. Anyways, I'm rambling a little bit. What it means is we're pretty far ahead and threatening to just kill our opponent. So I mean, they might not have anything. Okay, they tapped mana. Waiting until we attack. Another Bioblight? Or Downfall. Okay, that's even better. Because now they take 4. Go to 1. Okay, this is pretty amazing. Opponents at 1, they literally cannot let us untap with a Phoenix in play. Okay. They conceded. because Ash Cloud Phoenix is just too good. Anyways, so that's round 3. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned. I'm going to record one more for you. So we have one more round, and then a wrap up in the text down below. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned for one more.